Okay, so something that rarely happens here in the Philippines has happened. Due to popular demand, Frozen is coming back to theaters. Albeit it's a sing-along version, but I figured whatever. Let's review it. So Frozen is directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee, was written by Jennifer Lee, and features the voices of Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, and Santino Fontana. Now Frozen, like this plot is like familiar to everybody at this point, but just to recap, Frozen is set in the kingdom of Arendelle and focuses on these two sisters, Elsa and Anna, who are both princesses. But Elsa has, ice powers and stuff, and they're getting stronger and stronger. She can't really control them. And during her coronation night, something happens, and she accidentally shows the entire kingdom that she has ice powers, and she ends up freezing everything, runs off into the wilderness and hiding. And now Anna has to go and somehow get her back and get her to stop the winter. Now, I remember when Frozen first came out, it was like super hyped up. I remember reading a review that said it was the best Disney movie since The Lion King. And at this point, it's really, really not that great, but I mean, it still is great in its own way, I think. One problem about a movie being too popular is that a lot of people like to bring it down, and I'm trying not to pay attention to all the fans and the anti-fans and stuff, but I really do think, objectively speaking, it is a great movie. And you can tell this is really Disney attempting to subvert their old, Disney princess formula, and they don't do it, explicitly or anything. I like how they're still pretty much more focused on the actual story and delivering a message, and it doesn't really feel like they're, shoving it in your face that, this is subversion. And what happens is this movie ends up being very, very clever, and not just that, like in terms of animation stuff. This movie is beautiful, like it's so gorgeous. I was expecting like more of the same because the animation style here is definitely like Tangled because it's still the same studio, but there's a certain like elegant look to everybody. Even just with these characters' movements, it feels more smooth. Like at certain points, I was surprised. It really almost felt like motion capture, and that was super cool to see because I don't think it was there in Uncanny Valley just yet, but it was smooth enough to feel very immersive. And Frozen really is all about the snow and the ice, and the snow and the ice looks great. The ice, like the ice that comes out of Elsa's hands and stuff, it's like it's all spiky and cool. The snow, on the other hand, like whenever characters walk through them, it really feels like the snow crumbles. Like when they step into it, it doesn't just like whole. It really just feels like everything's made up of particles, and that's really fun. And I don't know why, but I just really love the setting of this movie. I mean, Arendelle in general, like you don't really exactly get to see like all the little streets and houses and stuff, but like it did feel like a living, breathing world to me because I like how they added little touches of little things, like let's say just the presence of wolves or trolls and stuff. I don't know, I really, really dig that. I mean, just the fact that you had guys, ice guys who make a living out of selling ice, like it's just small details for me that really make a world come to life. And I can really see like more Disney movies in the future, non-Pixar movies, being set in Arendelle because you have the cameo from Rapunzel in there. So like it would be so cool to see this world inhabited by more Disney movies. Now Frozen is definitely a musical, and in terms of its music, it's mostly pop, but it's very varied. I was happy to see that it wasn't all pop. In fact, my favorite songs from Frozen are the first one with the Ice Guys, and I really, really love that song because it was so different and it was, male voices mostly. Not saying that female voices are bad, it's just like it was different, okay? And I also love that whole chanting thing they do at the beginning of the movie when the credits come out. I got chills from I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. I love that song so much. And what happens is that this movie really does start to feel like Broadway, but in a very good way. It takes a certain kind of songwriting skill to be able to string songs together and make them all feel like they're part of one thing, and I think Frozen really does pull it off. And what I love is that this movie does not overdo the songs. Like there are no filler songs here, at least in my opinion. Like every song, like if they don't further story, they're kind of adding personality to the characters. And while some people might complain, like actually I was complaining at first that the second half of this movie has like almost no songs compared to the first half. That's not so much of a problem for me because I'd rather they focus on the story rather than just keep putting songs up. The plot of this movie is very simple and straightforward, but I thought was such a breath of fresh air because other Disney movies in the past, like in the very recent past, like they kind of did try to add a bit too much, and I like how Frozen was so straightforward in it, and I like simplicity. And this really does jive with the feel that Disney was going for. They're trying to make this like sort of a tribute to the older, Disney canon, the old princess movies. And what I did after I watched this movie, I read the Wikipedia plot summaries for Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I noticed that the setup for all these movies and Frozen is almost exactly the same, and they nailed this whole old school feel so well. There's a certain guilty pleasure to it, princesses and, the fact that magic is really a thing in this world. But for all its simple elegance and stuff, like this plot really, really takes an impressive turn for me near the ending. Something happens, a twist happens, and I thought it was really shocking because, I didn't see it coming, and it really made this movie more than, a Disney princess movie. It really transcended that. In terms of voice acting, I thought the casting was really good for this movie. Everyone had lots of really good chemistry with each other, especially like Idina Menzel and Kristen Bell as the sisters. And you can tell everyone's just having so much fun with their parts, especially Josh Gad as Olaf. Like, he's just having a ball. And surprisingly, they're all good at singing. So, like, good job. Like, even Jonathan Groff, who plays Kristoff, who doesn't exactly have, an elegant song, like he still pulls it off really well, and they all have great voice talent. Unfortunately, again, no, this movie is not The Lion King, and there are problems with it. For one, I thought the beginning of the movie, like the first half, went by like much slower than the second half, and I can understand they're trying to build character and stuff, but then what happens is that the ending feels super rushed. Like it just ends like that, and you don't really get a satisfying closure, in my opinion. But really, the biggest issue I have with this movie is that, in terms of writing and characterization, I know that this is a kids' movie, but you can't help but notice that some dialogue is pretty awkward. It's still trying to be hip and stuff, and it just kind of falls flat. Not all the jokes really connect as well as I think they should have. And aside from the characters of Anna and Elsa, you can't really care too much about any of these other characters. I mean, Olaf is cool and all. Like, I don't find him annoying. It's just that, in retrospect, I'm not really sure why he was there, so like, I don't know. However, I really am willing to let these things slide. I won't let them bother me that much because that's not what Frozen is going for. What it's going for is a very simple, elegant story with great music, gorgeous animation, and really good songs, and that's what I got. And it really is like a very charming tale. It's the kind of thing you can bring your whole family to watch. It's the first Disney movie in a long time, like non-Pixar, that really feels like a Pixar movie. Okay, that's weird, but yeah. So yeah, if any of you have not yet seen Frozen, it's showing now, like the sing-along version if you want to check it out. But seriously, do check it out. It's a great movie. But what did you think about Frozen? Whatever you think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.